I'm so relieved reading this story, courtesy of Kelly Eco, who covers the Houston Rockets and the NBA for The Athletic. In recent days, I've understood that Houston is no longer an option for James Harden. Thank the Lord above! Free at last! Free at last! I'm very happy about this. And I was glum, sad, moping the first hour, a little concerned about Christian Javier's start, more concerned about the start than happy about the win, annoyed with the idea of Domingo German's perfect game counting when he's pitching against the Oakland Athletics. So this is a relief. Harden would have made the Rockets more watchable. I will not deny that, but I just don't see how he would have been a fit. First, financially, if he's looking for a 4-year deal or something like that. Second, just as somebody that you want around all of the young players that you have on this team, of which there are many, right? Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Şengün, Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson, among many others. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, you know, when you got a team this young, you want to push it, you want to run. And Harden is the exact opposite of it. Harden loves to slow the game down. I think this could be a very fun, fast-paced team this coming season just because of the players that they have and the athleticism I will imagine they have in totality. So what are the Houston Rockets going to do next? Well, per Mark Stein, there's an expectation that they are going to go after two guys. One of them, it makes sense, but you might not like hearing the financials. They're prepared to offer Fred VanVleet a 2-year, $83.6 million contract at the start of free agency. Right? When you see that number, you're probably thinking to yourself, Jesus, $40 million a year. It's not a big deal. This is the loser tax, essentially. You're signing a guy who played in the NBA Finals. You're trying to make sure that he plays for you. You got a ton of salary cap space. You got to spend it on somebody. That's what the CBA says. New CBA struck, by the way, in the NBA, so we're not going to see a lockout anytime soon. I guess we could give Adam Silver credit for that, though I think he's a tad overrated as a commissioner. But to bring it back to this, 41.8 million a year, essentially, if I'm doing my math right. That's not crazy considering you can probably get out from underneath it in 2 years. This is not one of those deals that escalates in money, and as the player gets older, he becomes unmovable. This is essentially a 2-year rental.
Yeah, it is Fred VanVleet, NBA champion, professional point guard, come be our point guard while the number 4 pick learns how to adjust from going from overtime elite to the NBA.
Yeah.
Be our starting point guard, $41 million. We have $60 million. We can give you 41 of it for 2 years.
Yeah. I think this is what you got to do. But this is where it gets a little tricky because Dillon Brooks is also supposedly going to get the same, not $40 million a year offer, but the same.
Probably like around 15, 16.
I bet it's a 2-year contract that the Rockets offer him.
Yeah, and that, you know, I mean, we all know Dillon Brooks.
We do.
No one's going to be.
I'm going to make a devil's advocate argument for Dillon Brooks.
Wow, okay.
Okay, here it is. Now, he's annoying. And he should never talk again.
Good start.
But he plays with toughness. Is it irrational toughness at times? Yes. Is it dirty play? 100%. But I want someone mean. I want somebody in practice who is going to piss these players off. He's essentially not a coach, but like the guy who yells at you at practice coach. That's what I feel like he theoretically could be to these young players. I don't know if it would work. They might all check out. I don't know how this generation works when it comes to confrontation.
Yeah, they might be like, Dillon Brooks, yeah, you're yelling at me about being a professional and stuff, but have you seen what TikTok has to say about you?
Right.
Oh, buddy.
Well, I also think like there's a chance that some of these Rockets players say Dillon Brooks is annoying with them are going to go straight to HR. and not actually have a man-to-man conversation with him. Because why would you? The guy seems like he's a tad unhinged, right?
An absolute crazy person. I personally would not want to have a conversation with Dillon Brooks.
I don't. Well, I'd have him on the show
If he's mad at me. I wouldn't want to confront. I'll say that. I wouldn't want to confront Dillon Brooks.
I would want to talk to him on the radio and say, like, everyone thinks you're annoying, right?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
That'd be interesting to, like, I don't know if, his people would say yes to the interview request of, like, yeah, we want to talk about
No, I'd be open-minded.
how much you're hated.
I'm open-minded to this. I really am, because you do need to have somebody that's going to push people around. Like that. There's not enough of that in basketball these days. That was missing from the Celtics the last couple of years. My favorite team, like the Celtics, needed that when they played against the Warriors. They didn't have it.
So to some degree, I do agree with you that there needs to be, like, some sort of, like, an infusion of just some sort of professional basketball culture, like just the C word in basketball that everyone loves. It's culture. But the thing is, and Dillon Brooks is a culture. It is a step in the right direction from no culture.
He is,
but it is the Memphis Grizzlies culture.
That's true,
and that's what makes me like,
and not the old school Memphis Grizzlies.
No,
Zach
it's
Randolph,
the John Morant,
Marcus
John Morant's
right.
Grizzlies.
It's
culture.
John Morant.
It's Dillon Brooks. It's literally Dillon Brooks.
And toy guns in the locker room, right? Like there's a couple of dynamics at play here. But someone Twitches in. Paul, you're forgetting. Dillon has a problem understanding he can't shoot 25 times a game.
That's another thing.
This offseason, it was clear that is what he believes. I think, though, over the last couple of weeks, and again, basketball players are very unself-aware. I think that there is perhaps a chance to explain to Dillon Brooks, who has been getting absolutely roasted for a month plus, that you need to rehabilitate your image. Is it temporary? I don't know, but that's, if I'm Ime Udoka, if I'm a Rafael Stone, I'm presenting it to Brooks as, look, we want the toughness. We don't want the talking, and we don't want the shooting. And if you're not cool with that, then you got to go elsewhere. And we'll see. He might not be cool with it. But if that's the role that he accepts, I'm okay with it.
Yes, I would say that Dillon Brooks, his fit with the Rockets, you could talk me into it to a certain point, and it 100% depends on Ime Udoka's ability as a coach. Like you saw last year, this is someone that we've actually compared Dillon Brooks to before, is the Grant Williams of the Memphis Grizzlies, of irrational,
less dirty, but yes,
irrational, tough, like brings the toughness,
shoots a lot,
but shoots a little bit too much than what you want,
exactly.
and Grant Williams really flourished under Ime Udoka's year during Ime Udoka's year in Boston. Mm-hmm. Maybe Ime can connect with those kind of role players because he was a very hard-nosed role player when he played. Maybe there's some way that he can reach Dillon Brooks and get more out of Dillon Brooks than the Memphis Grizzlies were able to do. Not so much more as in, like, average 20 points a game, but more as in play as a part of a cohesive group.
I think it's possible. I think
again, that is my, like, rose-tinted glasses of Ime Udoka is, John the Baptist. Like, he can just perform miracles. He's a holy basketball being.
One of my good friends yesterday said if the Rockets sign Dillon Brooks, he's out. Like, he's just out. And this was my explanation to him. I was like, look, I get it, but I could see how this does actually help them out.